Sherry, Jesse, Eric, Michelle, friends and family of John. I've been here before. Indeed, I was introduced to Hawaii and its university by John and Sherry. But I am here with my wife, Susan, from the outside. From other places that knew John, that valued John's scholarship and actions, and that loved John as you do. I come here with many hats, and I speak wearing those hats first, so that I might reach what is in my heart. I come here with the hat of the American Society of International Law, of which John was a member since the late 1960s, when he was a hippie, I gather. The Law of the Sea Institute that John directed for many years, and of which he was always the heart. And the University of California, of which both John and Sherry are a part. I bring from these communities the best wishes and remembrances of hundreds upon hundreds of scholars, activists, and friends who loved and valued John. The global environment, the oceans, human rights, and the people of Hawaii all benefited incalculably from the life of John Van Dyke, where he was a master of the law and of the politics in each of those arenas. Until last December, never in my 20 years of service on the Department of State Advisory Committee on Public International Law had the committee started a meeting with silence to remember a colleague. You have to appreciate that this is a very self-important and pompous group. But as we all know, John was very special. And that day, we paused to remember him. Now, long before these many hats, some 3 decades ago, when I was a third-year law student, I was invited to a conference to speak on a panel. The other 2 members of the panel were Professor John Charney and Professor John Van Dyke. And as you can imagine from everything you've heard, John welcomed me there that day. It's not that I'm a shrinking violet, but at that point in one's life, that helping hand. Is very important. What I would like to convey for a moment is how I have come to think of how John abides. When I was a young man, I had the privilege of singing with a small men's group that toured extensively. We sang our music written for us in 4 or 8 parts, written for us alone. And then I graduated, and I thought the music was gone. Because no one was there to sing. But what I found over the years was that I could sing alone. And although it sounds strange, in my heart, I can hear all the other parts. And over these same years, I have come to appreciate that each person I have known leaves a strand of music with me, and they abide with me and with you. John's music abides in so many ways that I treasure. John's music is constant. It is always in the background, like the flow of water down a hillside, reminding us there is always hope as long as we try as he did. John's music also can soar and yet not be boastful. When his voice soars, it did not make me feel that I was failing, even as it asked me to do more, to be more, to do more for justice. That paradoxical kindness was at the core of our relationship, of my love for John. As a scholar, sometimes arbitrator, I view myself as an instrument of the law doing something good for the world. While to me, John, as a scholar and an advocate, seemed to view the law as an instrument of justice that he could employ. John encouraged me and probably everyone who knew him to have the courage to seek justice. But even as he encouraged, he never judged. We see justice more clearly as we listen to John's voice, and I am thankful for that. John's music was honest, and in being so, it was wonderfully playful. I would answer a question he asked, and his head would turn with playful surprise. His eyebrow would arch upward for a moment, and then he would pause for just a fraction of a second to choose words that would lead me, ever so gently, to his surprise. Finally, John's music is unique because it speaks for those and for that not heard enough. I will not write another sentence about our oceans without hearing John remind me of its need. I will not listen to another discussion contemplating the use of force without hearing also John remind me of the pain which will follow. I will not interpret a phrase without hearing John ask, "What does justice suggest?" We miss John, yet John also abides, and I look forward to listening to him in my heart each day. Thank you, John, and thank you, Sherry, for this opportunity. Thank you.